You've probably heard this advice before. Just rest more. Don't push yourself. Or try to take naps throughout the day. But let's be real. If you're a mom and you're running a business and you're juggling work deadlines, rest isn't always an option when life demands your full attention. And if you're dealing with autoimmune fatigue, it's not just about being tired and needing a nap. It's bone deep, can't function kind of exhaustion that doesn't really go away with sleep or some extra caffeine. So today I'm going to give you 5 science-backed strategies that you can start using this week, even with a full plate, to support your energy and reduce your inflammation and just start feeling more like yourself again. Let's start with hydration because this one is huge and it's something that we don't pay attention to enough. And even mild dehydration can increase your inflammation and slow down the nutrient delivery to your cells. And if your body can't get the nutrients and the oxygen that it needs, you get fatigued. So here's the action step that I want you to try to take this week. I want you to try to get half of your body weight in ounces of water daily. Now, I know that might sound like a ton of water, but honestly, let's say you weigh about 180 pounds. That means you're going to need about 90 ounces of water per day, which equates to about 11 8-ounce cups of water each day. Does that make sense? Also, what you can do is add a pinch of sea salt or an electrolyte to your water if you feel like just drinking plain water goes right through you. And that will help your cells to absorb the water that you're drinking rather than just peeing it all out. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to remember to drink all of that water? You can track it in an app like MyFitnessPal, or you can get one of those water bottles that has the ounces of water marked on the bottle so that you know how much you're drinking. Or you can actually do it the old-fashioned way and just write it down. Or you can download an app that reminds you to drink water at regular intervals throughout the day. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to help you remember to get that water in. I know that drinking water and staying hydrated isn't a fancy hack and it's pretty simple, but honestly, you're going to be amazed at how much better you actually feel when you're hydrated. The next step for you to get your energy back is to fuel your body with the right kinds of fats, specifically anti-inflammatory fats. Now, these fats are essential because they support your mitochondria. Remember, these are the tiny little powerhouses inside of your cells that make energy. And when you're inflamed, your mitochondria can't really function well. When they're sluggish, you feel wiped out, no matter how much rest you get. So what kinds of fats should you be focusing on? What am I talking about? There are specific types of fats that have been shown in research and studies to be essential for healthy mitochondrial function. I recommend starting with omega-3 fats, which will help to calm your inflammation and support healthy cells. And you're going to find omega-3 fatty acids in cold water fatty fish like wild-caught salmon and sardines, and also grass-fed beef and chia seeds and flax seeds. Another fat that I want you to try to incorporate into your diet are monounsaturated fats. And these are the fats that we find in extra virgin olive oil and avocado. And olive oil is especially powerful because it contains compounds that protect your cells and help your mitochondria to produce energy more efficiently. It's one of my favorite oils to use in cooking, on my salads. You can use it for so many purposes. So I highly encourage you to start using olive oil if you're not already. And here's one more fatty acid that's often overlooked, and this is butyrate. Now, butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that your gut bacteria actually produce when you eat fiber-rich foods. But you can also get it directly from grass-fed butter, which has some fantastic health benefits. And butyrate helps your mitochondria to work better under stress. It boosts energy production, which is what we want, right? And it protects your cells from damage. Now, all of these healthy fats that I just mentioned don't just reduce inflammation, they literally help to reignite your energy from the inside out. So this week, I want you to try this simple anti-inflammatory breakfast, which is full of healthy fats and protein and is very anti-inflammatory. So in order for you to make this breakfast, you first want to heat up about 1 to 2 teaspoons of grass-fed butter in a pan, ideally not a nonstick pan because you don't want to expose yourself to all of the chemicals that these nonstick pans are typically coated with. I use an iron skillet for most of my cooking, and once you get the hang of it, they're really great. Foods do not stick to it as much as you would think once you're coating it with the proper amount of like oil or cooking fat. But anyway, you want to start with about 1 to 2 teaspoons of grass-fed butter, and then you want to add about 2 handfuls of organic spinach or kale and let them saute for a couple of minutes in the pan. And then you want to add in about 2 to 3 pasture-raised eggs. And depending on how you like your eggs, you can cook them with the greens sunny side up, or you could just use a fork and scramble them up in the pan. That's what I like. I like scrambled eggs better. Or you could make it into an omelet. And then I would pair this with a side of wild blueberries. And if you really want to round out your meal and get the most benefits from it, I would add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of a fermented food, not mixed in, but just on the side of your plate, of something like sauerkraut or kimchi. And this simple breakfast is going to give you a great combination of omega-3s, butyrate, antioxidants, polyphenols, and if you add the fermented food, you're also going to get a great dose of probiotics. And the best thing about this is that all of these nutrients are going to support your mitochondrial health and your gut health and give your body what it needs to fight inflammation and support your energy all day long. Okay, so moving on to our next energy boosting tip. Let's talk about sleep. I'm sure you already know that sleep is a non-negotiable when it comes to healing, but if you're dealing with autoimmune fatigue, then your sleep can kind of feel broken. Maybe you can't fall asleep at night, or maybe you wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all. So what's going on here? Why do you feel like this? Let me just give you a quick overview of what's happening. When you have an autoimmune condition, your immune system is constantly on alert, like it's fighting off a threat that actually isn't there. And this creates low-grade chronic inflammation. And here's the problem with that. Inflammation messes with your brain and your hormones, especially cortisol and melatonin. Now, cortisol, which is your stress hormone, should be high in the morning and then low at night. But when you have chronic inflammation, it can flip that pattern. So now what happens is that your cortisol stays high at night, which makes it really hard for you to wind down and fall asleep. And at the same time, inflammation also will block your melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So your body isn't getting the signal that it's time for you to rest, even if you feel really tired. Plus, your nervous system stays in this kind of fight or flight mode, which means that your body doesn't shift into the calm, repair-focused state that deep sleep requires. So even if you're in bed for 8 hours, your body isn't fully resting or healing. And that kind of keeps you stuck in this vicious cycle. No sleep, which leads to more inflammation, which then leads to more fatigue. Does that make sense? So let's go over some action steps that you can use to improve your sleep. Something that I do with all of my clients is help them to build a simple sleep routine. And this is so helpful because it trains your nervous system to recognize that it's time to wind down. Just like we set routines for our kids to help them sleep better, adults, especially those of us who are dealing with chronic fatigue and inflammation, benefit just as much from this structure. So I want to give you a sample routine that you can try this week. And you want to start this about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. So first, you're going to want to dim the lights because bright light tells your brain to stay awake and alert, and this blocks your melatonin production. So try switching to warm, low lighting that is going to help to trigger your melatonin production. That's the first thing. The next thing that I want you to do, and you probably heard this a million times before, but I want you to turn off your screens, like get off of your screens. And this is because phones and TVs and tablets all emit blue light that delays your melatonin release. Now, I know it's hard to do, and it's definitely something that I personally struggle with, especially, when it's bedtime. Sometimes you just want to go on your phone and scroll. But instead of scrolling on your phone, I want you to try to do a calming activity. And this could be reading a physical book or listening to an audiobook. Probably not one that keeps you on the edge of your seat, like a thriller or a murder mystery or a scary book, right? But something that requires a lot of brain power, but maybe something relaxing that doesn't require a lot of thinking. You can also try to do some journaling to release the stress and mentally kind of close your day. Stretching is another thing you can try, or breath work, or prayer. These are all really great activities that you can incorporate for calming your nervous system. You can also try listening to calming music or white noise. And another helpful thing that you could add into your sleep routine is adding a supplement like magnesium glycinate. Now, this is the form of magnesium that is known for having a calming effect on the nervous system, and it can also promote a more deep and restful sleep. So if you want to take a supplement like that, you definitely want to check with your health care practitioner, especially if you're taking a medication. And if they give you the go-ahead, then I would suggest starting with about 200 to 300 milligrams and taking that about 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Okay, so let's talk about how you can reset your circadian rhythm. One of the most powerful tools that you have to reset your body's sleep-wake cycle or your circadian rhythm is morning sunlight. And it's free. This is a great way to reset things. So here's how it works. When your eyes take in the natural light within the first hour of waking up, this sends a signal to your brain to turn off your melatonin production so that you feel more alert. And then this boosts your cortisol levels in a healthy and natural way, which helps with energy production. So when all of this happens the way that it's supposed to, melatonin then is released about 14 to 16 hours later, right when you want to go to sleep. And the good news here is that it's super easy to prime your circadian rhythm so that it's functioning optimally. So here's the action step that I want you to try this week. First, I want you to try to go outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up because you want to expose your eyes to that natural light for at least 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little longer if it's cloudy. Just don't wear sunglasses because that's going to defeat the purpose. Also, don't stare directly at the sun, but I'm pretty sure you know that. If you take a walk in the morning while you're getting your dose of sunlight, that would be even better because you're getting movement and you're getting your sunlight. Now, if you can't get outside, which I totally understand, you can open your blinds or sit near a sunny window. Just sit in the direct sunlight if possible. Maybe read a book or do an activity so you get that exposure for about 15 minutes. But if you can get outside, that's the best option. Okay, this next one might sound kind of challenging, maybe even impossible because I know that you're ambitious and you've got a lot on your plate. But please hear me out. Even on your good days, it's important for you not to overdo it. Don't roll your eyes, just listen. So what I'm talking about is that on a good day, maybe your pain is lower and you have some more energy and your brain fog has gone away a little bit. And this can feel so exciting because you're starting to feel like yourself again and you're like, I can get so much more done. So you want to catch up on everything. But pushing too hard on those days can actually lead to crashes that wipe out the progress you've made. Overexertion is one of the most common patterns that I see in autoimmune recovery, and it's one of the most preventable setbacks. So instead, I want you to think of your energy kind of like a bank account, okay? Every task that you do is a withdrawal, and you need to budget it wisely, especially if you're in healing mode. And as your health improves and your symptoms start to stabilize, you're going to be able to do more, okay? So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But right now, pacing yourself is what makes that growth sustainable. So you need to build in breaks before you hit empty. You need to listen when your body tells you that it's time to pause. And that's not being lazy, it's being strategic and self-aware. So here's what I want you to try this week. Pick one task to say no to, or take one big task and break it into smaller steps and take rests in between. And this is how you build resilience, not by doing it all at once, but by showing up for your healing every day in a way that respects your limits. Finally, the last energy boosting tip that I want to share with you today is to get some movement. And I'm not talking about like pushing through intense workouts like CrossFit or HIIT exercise, but I'm talking about gentle daily movement that is going to support your circulation and your energy production and your lymphatic flow. I think that walking is honestly one of the best forms of movement that you can do because it's so attainable for most of us. And I'm not talking about power walking. Even a 10-minute walk can improve your energy over time without draining your reserves. And research shows us that exercise helps to reduce autoimmune fatigue in conditions like lupus. And it supports mitochondrial function, which is key here. So this week, I'd really like you to commit to trying to move about 10 to 45 minutes every day. And I think that walking is a great way to start, especially if you have physical limitations. And you can use your best judgment. If you're pretty sedentary, then maybe start with 10 minutes a day. And you can always increase that time later, but you just want to keep it low key. You need to focus on consistency over intensity. And if you would like a more structured plan so that you can start building some of these healthy habits that we've covered in this video, go ahead and grab my Leaky Gut Clean Start program. It's a self-paced 4-week program that is designed to help you gently repair your gut, reduce your inflammation, and start getting your energy back. So each week you're going to add 2 simple habits without feeling overwhelmed, and by the end you're going to have a clear, sustainable routine and a solid foundation to keep you moving forward, which is so important when it comes to healing. You'll also get a gluten-free anti-inflammatory meal plan and a recipe guide, which is perfect for you if processed foods have kind of crept back into your diet and if you're ready to just start feeling better. So go ahead and grab that. It's in the description box below and you can download it today. It's under $50 and I think that it would be very helpful for you to get started. Okay, so just to recap, here are the 5 tips that I gave you so that you can start getting your energy back. So the first thing you want to do is hydrate consistently. The second thing that you want to work on is eating anti-inflammatory fats. The third thing that you want to do is support your sleep naturally. Number 4, the fourth thing you want to do is pace your energy. And last but not least, try to get some movement every day. I really hope that this video has been helpful for you, and I would love if you'd leave me a comment below. Let me know which habits you're trying this week and what's been helping. I'll be cheering you on. You don't have to keep feeling stuck. Let's get your energy back with one small step at a time. In the next video, I'm going to share why pushing through your autoimmune fatigue might actually be making things worse and what you can do instead. See you in the next one.